All right, students, today you're going to need your sketchbook, a ruler, a pencil. I'm going to use the 4H pencil because I'm going to draw lightly and I want to be able to erase it really well. If you don't have a 4H pencil, you can use a 2H pencil, or you could use a number 2 pencil, but you'd have to draw really, really light. The 4H allows us just to draw normally, and it puts out a hard lead, which we know, which allows us to have a light line that's easy to erase. And then an eraser, either a white one or a kneaded eraser, it's up to you. And then what we're going to do is look at our drawings. This is what we were working on yesterday or the day before, our room drawing. We're going to use this one-point perspective technique a little bit different. So what I want you to do is take this, and on the back side of this room drawing, we are going to start a new drawing. So I'm just going to turn it over right there. And the first thing I would like you to do is take your ruler and find the perforated edge here, the little line there. And we're just going to take our ruler straight to that line, line it up, and we are just going to make that line a little bit darker, okay? Just so we know where the edge of the paper is, where it rips out, okay? So just saying that's the top of our paper. And we have it in landscape. It used to, in elementary, we'd call it hot dog, but we call it landscape port or format. And what we're going to do is grab our ruler, and we are going to go from the top of the page down. So line my ruler up so the 0 mark hits that line, and I'm going to go down to about 3 inches and make a light mark. When I have that light mark, I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with the edge of the paper, and then find that mark. And using the edge of the paper, so I get a nice, pretty straight line across, I'm just going to hold my ruler nice and tight and draw a light line across. And now we got to put a vanishing point on here. Normally we put it right in the center, but today I'm just going to put it a little bit right of the center, just a little bit right of the center. So that's where my vanishing point is going to be. And if this mark is getting a little, you can erase it a little bit, but this is going to be my vanishing point. I'm just putting it off to the edge a little bit, and you can have it in the center if you like. You can have it to the right or the left, left or right if you want, but it's just going to change the way the lines go, and it'll give you a more dynamic view sometimes. Our first thing we're going to do is draw a square. So we're going to line, and remember, we're always using our ruler. A ruler is our best friend when we're doing one-point perspective. So we have the horizon line, we have the vanishing point. Now we're going to use the top of the paper, and I'm using that line to line up my ruler. And I'm going to make a square that starts at the 1. Maybe let's go rectangle. And I'm going to have it go down to the 4. So it starts at the 1 and goes down to the 4. So it's about that tall. And I'm going to take my ruler to the edge, and I'm going to say that it goes over about that far over. So now I have like an L. And when I have that L, all I do is take my pencil, put it on the edge of that line, and then take my ruler over to that line it up at the top of the paper so I know it's pretty straight, and then take it up. And now to get a perfectly straight line across, line it up on the side of my paper, and then go across the top. And then with my eraser, I'm going to erase any extra line I may have, that top corner, and then I'm going to erase this horizontal or horizon line inside of this rectangle. So I'm erasing that. And now I have a rectangle just sitting on my paper there. So that's the first step. Second step is to draw a square down here on the bottom right. So I'm going to take my ruler, take it to the top of my paper, line it up. I'll show you the bottom of my paper here. And then I'm just going to draw one that's sort of close to the bottom. So I have a floating line there. I'm going to move it over how far I think it needs to be and line it up on the top of my page. So I'm lining my ruler up on the top of my page, and then we're going to try to draw a line that mimics this line. So it's about the same size. And I don't know if those are about the same size yet or not, but I'm going to take my ruler, line up with the edge of the paper. And if you're left-handed, you can use this side of the paper. I'm just using this side of the paper because there's a book over here, and so it's hard to line up this side without a book. It doesn't give me a straight line, so I'm using this side. So however side you want to use, you can use. So I'm lining it up on the edge of the paper, drawing my horizontal line over, and then on the bottom, same thing. And if you have any tails of your line, you can just clean those up. We don't have to erase any horizon line in the center here because it is just the way it is. Let's go to the top. Let's go up here above. Let's make a rectangle up here, okay? So I'm gonna start with the bottom of the rectangle, and I'm gonna say I want it to be maybe that long. And then I'm gonna go down. Maybe this is how tall I want it to be. And you don't have to have yours exact. We're just making some, okay? And then to make those vertical lines, line it up at the top of the paper to get nice straight lines going down. Remember, all our lines we're using the ruler for when we are doing 1-point perspective. So now we have a floating rectangle, we have a big rectangle, we have a little square. Let's make another little square over here, okay? So I'm gonna line up my ruler on the top of the paper. Maybe I'll make a tiny one. Line it up on the top of the paper again. Make a line. So I'm gonna take my ruler to the side of the paper and draw these lines. If I have any tails there, just clean up those tails. And we have 4 shapes on our paper. We have a horizon line, we have a vanishing point. All right, now that we got this, now it's just time to connect things to the vanishing point. I'm gonna start with this little one first, okay? Remember the horizon line is our eye point. So anything right here, the horizon line in the background, like if the sun was up here, then this would be where the earth touches it. Or if this is like an ocean scene, this would be the ocean, this would be the sky, and then this is where the sun would be. All right, so what I'm going to do is, actually put some more light on here first, there we go. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna draw a line from this corner to this vanishing point. Remember, all our diagonal lines are gonna go to this vanishing point. So I'm gonna line my ruler up with the vanishing point, there it is, and then I'm gonna line it up with that corner. I'm making sure, double checking, because the lines need to be perfectly straight. And I'm going to just draw lightly, and I'm even drawing right through that shape that I drew before. I'm drawing lightly so I can erase. And there is one diagonal line from the corner to the vanishing point, and then I'll line up my ruler again from the next corner. And I'm drawing lightly because I might need to erase. There we go. And this is all about ruler control, this exercise. It's just getting to know your ruler, being able to hold it tight to get nice straight lines, being able to line up 2 points, so this corner and the vanishing point, to get a nice straight line. There we go. So we have one long box that's going back into the space. Now what we need to do is figure out how long we want it. I sort of want this to be sort of like a little cube. And so what I'm gonna do is take my ruler, line it up with the top of my page, and then I'm finding this corner right here, this corner, this line, I'm gonna line my ruler up with that and the top of the page, and then I'm gonna move it over to where I think I want the width of this to be, how wide it is. So my ruler is on the top of the page, it's lined up. I'm just gonna draw a line connecting these 2 diagonal lines, and that's gonna give me the edge of my box. And once I have that edge, I can take my ruler and put it on the side of the paper, and then take it up to this point right here that we just created. So I'm gonna take that up, making sure that it's perfectly flat on the edge of my paper. I have this point, and I'm just gonna connect these 2 lines now. And now I will have the top of my box. So there is that. Now that I have that box, I can erase these diagonal lines that are going to the vanishing point. And this is why we're drawing lightly, so that we don't have to see them too much. And we're gonna erase these lines that are inside this rectangle. I'm trying to keep that rectangle pretty much intact, and I'll erase these lines on the outside. I want to keep that horizon line and my vanishing point. So now I have a little box floating here, ready to go. So we're gonna make more of them now. Let's go to our next one, this one on the other side. It's gonna be the exact same thing, but it's gonna be the opposite corners. So it's gonna be this corner, and this corner. And because this is touching the ground down here, we don't need any lines going there. So I am going to connect this corner to the vanishing point, drawing lightly. I'm gonna connect this corner to the vanishing point, drawing lightly. And I'll connect this corner to the vanishing point, and I'm drawing lightly, okay? And now I got this long shape again, and now I gotta figure out how wide I want it. So how wide do I want it? And so I'm gonna make this one a little bit longer. So I'm gonna take my ruler, line it up with this edge of the shape I just made, and then make sure that my ruler is lined up on the top line, so I get a nice straight up and down line. I'm just gonna move my ruler over to where I think I might want it. So I'm gonna make it way down here. So now I'm just gonna draw a small line from this line to this line, but making sure my ruler is perfectly straight at the top, lined up with the page. And now I got a long sort of rectangle. Once I have that line, I can line up my ruler with the other side of the page, right there. Find that corner that I just created, and then I'm going to draw a line that connects over here. And now I have a long rectangular shape right there. I can erase these lines going to the diagonal, or diagonal lines going to the vanishing point now. Just being careful around them. There we go. Now I have two 3D boxes there. We're gonna make two more. And now what we're going to do is this one. This one's a little bit more confusing because this one we had 3 points, this one we had 3 points, and that's because it's below the vanishing point. This one's sort of in the middle of it. So we're not really gonna see underneath here, and we're not gonna see above here. So we're not gonna have a top, and we're not gonna have an underneath part here. We're just gonna have a side. So we're gonna connect this one and that one to the vanishing point. So get my ruler, put it on the vanishing point, find the corner of that shape. So maybe I'll do it this way so you can see it better. And then I'm gonna hold it nice and tight and draw a line down nice and lightly. And then I'll do the same for the top. So I found the corner of the top, found my vanishing point, and drew a line nice and lightly. And now I have the side of whatever that shape is. And what I can do, we want to find the length of it now, or the width of it. So I'm gonna take my ruler, line it up with that corner, and move it over to how far I want it. I'm just gonna do a small one right here. I'm gonna draw a line straight down between those. And now I can erase this diagonal line at the top. And I can erase this diagonal line at the bottom, going to the vanishing point. Okay. We have one more thing to erase, and that is this horizon line right between these two lines, that tiny little one. We're gonna erase that one, okay? So we're gonna erase that. There we go. And now we have a tall, maybe like a cereal box, just sitting on the counter, and we have like a dice over here, and maybe a stick of butter, I don't know. We're just letting our imagination run wild. There's all these things that could be. Maybe it's a city, and we have something up here we don't know yet. All right, let's actually conquer this one. Because of this one, we're gonna see the bottom of it, just like we see the top here. And so we're gonna connect this point, and this point to the vanishing point. So let's do that. I'm gonna start over here, find that corner, and line it up with the vanishing point, and draw lightly down. And once I found that corner, I'll go to this corner, go from that corner to the vanishing point, and go down, and we have the bottom of that box. I'll find this corner right here, and take it to the vanishing point, and we have the side of that box, and that's like, maybe like a shelf, like a floating shelf or something that's coming out there. Now we just need to figure out how long we want it. We can make it short by taking our ruler to the top of the paper, lining it up, and drawing a line in there like that. And then once we found that line, we can go underneath it, line our ruler on the side of the paper, find that corner, and drawing it over. And so now we have a short one. And so if we erase these lines right here, let's just do that. So we erase those lines right there, and I'm erased a little too much, so I'll go back. We sort of have this floating object up there, just a little sort of nice rectangular shape. Another thing we can do, if we go back in and put those diagonal lines in, again, making sure that these are straight. Diagonal lines to the vanishing point. Show you this thing that you can do. So we have this, right? What I can do is then take my line and draw another sort of box there. And then I can go down here further and make another couple vertical lines there. And then on the horizontal lines, just find those corners there, like this. And go down, find the next corner, draw it straight over. Find the next corner, just draw it straight over. And the next corner, and draw it over. Now, what I can do is go in, clean up these lines underneath it on the side. And now it looks sort of like a block sort of system, like there's a lot of them. Maybe like this is a deck, or maybe it's bricks, or maybe it's a hanging over thing for a restaurant. You can do that. But then what you can do, I'm just gonna use the end of a number 2 pencil for this one just because it's a little bit easier for me. I'm gonna erase this line in between here. And I'm gonna erase this line right here. And then I'm gonna skip one, erase these lines here, and this one here. And now you're like, what is going on, Mr. Matthews? Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna find this corner right here. We're gonna bring our ruler up, find that corner, line it up on the edge, and just draw a line over, like so. And then we're gonna go down to this corner here, and draw a line over as well. Oops. Got to draw a line over like that as well. And then once we have those lines there, now it looks like they're kind of floating there separately. What I'll do is come over here to this corner that I have and get my ruler lined up with the top of the paper and draw a line up. And I should just finish this line. There we go. And then I can do the same here, find this corner down here. Something a little bit more advanced, but you'll get it if you want to do this. So now you have sort of these little steps or things that are floating in a line down this area. So now we have all these different shapes. What we can do is just start adding value to them. And we can add value through hatching, cross-hatching. Another thing we could do, since we're here, let's do this. What we're gonna do is draw a line from the vanishing point down to the edge of the paper, just like that. And then what we're gonna do is do the same thing, but we're gonna leave some space this time, okay? So this is the line we just made. We're gonna make another one right next to it. So another diagonal line. So we have this one going this way. And then what we'll do is do 2 over here as well. Maybe one that sort of goes right next to this block. And then one that comes a little bit further away from it, like that. So maybe this is like a sidewalk, and this is a sidewalk, and this is the busy street. So then if we have this, and it is a sidewalk, what we can do is take our ruler, line it up with the edge of the paper, and then make perfect vertical lines, or horizontal lines, sorry, horizontal lines, side to side lines. There. And what we're gonna do is, as they're further back, they get closer together. And as they come closer to us, they're gonna be further apart. Okay. I'm just doing both at the same time. So I'm just moving them further apart as they get closer to me. And this further apartness is gonna give the illusion that it's coming towards us. But I'm not gonna make them drastically. Like if I made this one back here, I'll do this one on this side, and I'll do this one sort of like right here. You can see the difference. This looks more realistic. This looks like it's kind of exaggerated. So I might go back in here, put one there. So we're just leaving some space. And now we have a street. If we're gonna turn this into buildings, let's put a door here. So I'm gonna take my ruler, I'm gonna put a door right in here, line it up with the top of the page like so, draw a line straight up from the sidewalk, but I'm not going to the top of the box, sort of like that. Now that I have the side of the door, what I wanna do is get the top, or the width of the door. So I'm gonna move my ruler over to the left a little bit, making sure it's lined up with the top of the paper so I get a nice straight line. And then what I'll do is find this furthest one away, this corner there, and draw a line to the vanishing point. And then I look here, oh, I need to make that line a little taller. So I'll grab this and then line it up with the top of the paper so I get a nice straight line. And boom, I got myself a door. If I want to put a handle on that door, I just need to figure out where would I want like a push bar. So that's where I think it's gonna be. Just gonna draw to the vanishing point because it's a diagonal line. Move it down a little bit. Now I got push board in the door. So this is a city now. If I wanna make some windows here across the front, I will take my ruler and just draw some lines there. And then make my ruler go down. Remember, I'm lining up with the side. There's some windows that are going. I'm just gonna move them down. I'm making sure that the ruler is lined up with the side of my paper so these lines all look straight. And I'm just eyeballing how much space is in between each one. If you wanted to, you could measure. That's just gonna make it more realistic. So I am putting in some windows in this building. Just moving my ruler down, keeping it on the edge of the paper. Like so. We got some windows there. I can take my ruler at the top of the paper, line it up with the edge, and I can just define those windows. I'm just using that top edge of the paper to line it up, and I'm moving my ruler over what I think the space is. The edge here. See how much, oh, it's a little wide, but I could throw this in as part of the design. And now it looks like I got some windows there for a skyscraper. If I want to make it look like there's floors between the windows, I might erase one set of these windows here. And now it looks like there's like a wall there. And I can do that with the next one in between. And so I can use this planning tool, perspective, to help me get some things in here. So I went every other one. Boom, I got a building. We can put a door down here. Same thing as before. Figure out where you want your door. Draw it up to the side, over, and then across the top, lining up with the paper. You get yourself a door. Maybe put a little handle there. There's a building. If we want windows on the side of the building, grab our vanishing point, and then I'm gonna go, and I'm finding this corner right here because it's gonna be in line. So I want these windows to be in line with this window. So I'm gonna find this corner right here, and then line it up with my vanishing point, and I'm just gonna draw lightly through the shape to the other side of the building, and I'll find this corner right here, and do the same thing. And then I'm gonna do the same thing down here, and then right here, and then this corner there to the vanishing point, and this corner here to the vanishing point. And you can see I'm not actually drawing to the vanishing point all the way anymore, just because like I know that I've erased those lines. And so when you get really good at this, you don't have to draw every line all the way to the vanishing point, like you're still drawing it to the vanishing point, but you're going to save yourself some eraser by just drawing the lines you need, okay? And so I have those, but I want, this is the side of my building here, and so what I need to do is go back in here and erase these lines that come out of the edge there of the building, and I can go back in and draw my lines down. I'm just going to skip every other one. So now I have that side of the building. I got lines over there. If I need to, I can make this line a little bit darker so people can know that this is the edge of the building and this is the edge of the building. And now I have windows on the side of my building. All right. Oh, let's see. Let's make a house. Let's make this a house. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna find the center of your box here on this front side. So we have the front side, we have the side, and we have the top. And so, pardon me, let me get the lights back on. What we're gonna do is find the center. And so this is about 1 inch, so it's a 1/2 inch. I'm just gonna mark 1/2 inch there. And I'm gonna draw a line up that goes about 1/2 inch as well. So it's just a line that's going straight up. And what I want to do to that line is connect these corners. So we're going to go in the opposite direction for these diagonals. We're not going to actually draw it to the vanishing point on this one because we're making a triangle to make the roof of this little house there, okay? And once I have that triangle and I found the center point, that's the center point of the box, that means that's the highest point of the roof. What I can do is go back in and erase those lines inside of that triangle there. So I can erase those lines inside of that triangle there, like so. And then once we have the point of the triangle here, all we're actually gonna do now is draw it to the vanishing point. So I'm gonna find the top point of the triangle, there it is, and the vanishing point, I'm gonna draw it over. And I'm actually drawing it all the way over, just so that I can see it and I can get the length of it. Now what we're gonna do is once we have this, we're gonna find the angle of this triangle, this little side of the triangle, and we're gonna move this angle. So we're gonna keep our ruler nice and firm. We're just gonna move it over to this corner of this box. So I'm going to this corner of the box, but I'm using this angle of this line that I have here. I want to move that over, and I'm trying to keep it as straight as I can. And if I mess up, I can go back. Be like, okay, I'm moving this over. I found the corner of the box, and I'm just going to draw that up. And now I have the side of the house of the roof, and I can erase this little line back here. And any tails I have, and any lines going to the vanishing point. And now I have a house with a roof on it. And now I can put in a door, which we've done before. So the opposite of this one is just finding where we want the door. I'm thinking right here. So I'll put my ruler there, line up with the top of the page, draw how high I want the door to be. Then I'm gonna figure, actually since I'm here, I'm just gonna take it to the vanishing point right now. So I'm finding that top line, and then I'm taking it to the vanishing point. I'm just gonna draw it over as far as I think it's gonna be, and take my ruler to this point right here, and then line it up with the top of the paper, and draw it down. And you got yourself a door. A door on this house. Let's just put a window over here. So I'm gonna take my ruler, figure out where I want the window, line up with the top of the page, put a floating line, then I'll take it to the side, line it up with the edge of the page, and then take it over how far I want the window to be. And then once I have that, I can go back to the top of the page with my ruler, line it up, draw a line up, nice and straight vertically, then take my ruler, line up with the edge of the page, and across horizontally, and I got myself a house. If I want to put the panes in there too, so like maybe it's got like one of those window panes. There you go. So maybe it's a sliding window. Maybe we want to make it a little bit more old-fashioned. There you go. Put a little handle for the door. It's a community. Maybe we need a walkway from the door, so we find the door. I'm gonna draw a line over. and go to the other side of the door. And there is their little walkway, but I want pavers. So if I want like sort of these lines for this, these lines going, these sidewalk lines, if I want the same sidewalk lines here, what I have to do is actually use the vanishing point. And so I'll make a line here. I'll move my ruler over, lining it up with my vanishing point still. I'll make another line, and then I'll move it over again, lining it up with the vanishing point. Because these are diagonal lines, I'll move it over a little bit. And then you got a little walkway there that's connecting them. So you could do a lot with this. We could put a big window over here, same thing. Just figure out how tall you want it to be, then how wide you want it to be using the tops and the edges of your paper. And same thing again. It's just a lot of repeating the same things. We're just using 3 lines basically, but now we have a wealth of information here. Next thing to do is to add value. We could add a sun in the background. Like a sun could be right back here. Maybe it's like a half circle or something, and the rays are coming out. And so if the rays were coming out of a sun, let's actually just do that. So if we were having a sun back here, and I'm just gonna use sort of like a half circle right here to represent where the sun would be, it'd just be like a block of color. But if I want the sun rays to come off, I'll just make some diagonal lines from the vanishing point. There's one ray. Maybe I'll do the same over here. So I'll go and I'll stop at the building. I'll go on the other side of the building. So let me do that again. So I found the vanishing point. I want where the ray is going to be, so I can draw a line there, and then through the side. And so I'm not even drawing through the building anymore. I'm just pausing at the building, and then continuing on the other side of the building. So now I'm getting these rays. I can do the same over here. Ray, ray, ray. And I could go like maybe let's do a ray here. I can go making sure it's lining up with the vanishing point. Ray, and maybe there's a ray here. Vanishing point, ray. And so now we have like this ray of sun coming through here. So like the sun is just blasting out, and it's a bright sunny day in the morning. And then after that, like I was saying before, it's just adding value. So like the sun is over here, so underneath is gonna be bright, the side is gonna be bright, but back here, because I know the sun is there, it's gonna be dark. And so like I can add hatch lines, because we have a sun now. I'm just trying to do this quick so the video doesn't take forever. I can do the same over here on this one, because I'm not gonna see the sun on this side of it. And here. So now that's giving it value, and it's gonna make it stretch out a little bit. This side's gonna have tons of sun, but back here on this building, it's gonna be little to no sun. It's actually gonna be kind of dark. And so I'm just quickly adding value. If I was using color, I'd use like a dark blue back here, or if it was like a brick building, I'd use like a dark red, and on this side more of a pink. And so that will be there. I can do this on the house too, and some value. So this would be the dark side of the house. So, and so we're getting a shadow. This building's gonna cast a shadow on this house, so I might put a little bit of value on there. And if I want to find the value of, or the shadow of this building, all I do is take the vanishing point, find the corner of that building, like so, and draw a line all the way down. And then I find the other corner of that building, like so, and draw a line over. And that, all this area is going to be shadow, because everything here, I'm just trying to do this quickly, I'm sorry, is going to be in the shadow of that building. This building here is going to have, this is going to be all be in shadow over here. So you can add value to your drawing, and it'll help push things further back and give you more perspective, okay? So this is how you would use 1-point perspective to create an outside area. It's especially good for using for hallways, looking down a street, looking in an alley, creating a neighborhood. This is just a great view of like looking into something, looking down on something, railroad tracks. You could use this for tunnels, rooms. This is just a great use of that. And so what I want you to do now is take a picture of what we were able to do today and then upload it to the assignment. And I can't wait to see what you made.